Okay, now we're going to go into the notes of lesson 4-1 here. Congruent figures are congruent polygons with an S. We are talking about two polygons. Now a polygon could be a four-sided figure, a five-sided figure, three-sided figure. When they say they are congruent polygons, they are two polygons that have all congruent sides and angles. Basically everything that matches on a six-sided figure, if you're congruent with another one, you match all sides and angles on another one. Okay, 4-1 here. This is talking about triangles. If two triangles, or two angles in one triangle are congruent, the two angles of are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the third angles are congruent. So basically, if you got angle A and D are equal, angle B and E are equal, well, all triangles add up to 180. So whatever this remaining angle C is and this remaining angle F, they must be congruent. So if two of the three angles are congruent, then the third angles must be congruent. That is 4-1. Okay, let's go with triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI. List the congruent corresponding parts. So there's obviously with a triangle there are three sides, and so we will list the three sides that are congruent, and there are three angles. And so we're going to list all of the corresponding parts. Now, you could look at the two pictures here with the sides, and let's go DE with the single tick mark is equal to GH with the single tick mark. And then let's go with the double tick marks. E to F is congruent to, where's the double tick mark here? H to I. And then tick, 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 the triple tick mark, DF should be equal to GI with the triple tick marks. Angles are going to be a little bit easier to list here. Angle E here with the single tick mark will be equal to angle H with the single tick mark. Double tick mark F is congruent to double tick mark I. And finally, it looks like angle D with the triple tick marks is congruent to angle G with the triple tick marks. Now, you could do all of that with the picture, but even if you didn't have this picture here, you should be able to figure out what sides are equal based on this statement. The way they set up this statement is important. The first letter D should match up with the first letter G, so that's why angle D is equal to angle G. Second letter E should match up with H, E and H. And third letter should match up with third letter. So just the order of it, even without the picture and the tick marks, you should be able to figure out what matches up. So like side length DE, the first two letters should match up with side length GH. EF, the second and third, should match up with HI, and so forth. Okay? All right, number 2 here, it says, can you conclude that triangle JKL is congruent to M and L? Justify your answers. Well, in order for two triangles to be congruent, you must have three congruent sides, three congruent angles. Well, let's look at the angles here. We obviously see a tick mark and a tick mark here, so that's congruent. We've got tick, tick. That's congruent. And then this third angle, well, because they're vertical angles, they would be equal. So all three angles are equal, so that's important. But are all three sides equal? I see some tick marks here, but do I really know that this side length here, maybe that's 3 inches, is it the same length as that one? Maybe this is 3.3. There's no tick marks there. So because there's no tick marks, we are going to say this is not congruent because JK side length is not equal to, and maybe it is, but right now, based on the picture, it is not equal to side length NM. And you need to have all three sides the same. Also, there's kind of a little trick here with the way the tick marks are going. This single tick mark, let's say that's 5. Well, the other single tick mark is over here. That's 5 inches. It's not part of the other triangle. And maybe a double tick mark is 6 inches, and then this is 6 inches. And then when you're actually comparing triangles, a 5 inch does not equal to a 6 inch. So that's sort of tricky there as well. Okay, we're going to move on to the next page, which is going to be our first completely geometry 2-column proof here. Okay, and so what we're going to see when we do any of these 2-column proofs, you're always going to be trying to figure out why the two triangles are equal. The two triangles here, left and right, are equal. And in order for two triangles to be equal, or any type of figure to be equal, you must have 3 sides that are equal, 3 angles that are equal. So what you'll notice here is at the end will be this proof, and before that will be all the congruent sides and all the congruent angles. And then once everything's proven, you would go to the end here, why the two triangles are congruent. Okay, so let's go with the beginning. CJ is equal to DJ. That's right here. That's given. CN is equal to DN. That is also given right there. GN is equal to GN. Well, before I even go to this one, now this is a side length, so I'll put an S there for side. This is also a side length, so I'll put an S there for side. You can see the tick marks here. So that means I have 2 of the sides based on the first 2 steps. So I want the third side length to be congruent. And if I look at this triangle on the left, it's G to N. If I look on the triangle to the right, it's also G to N. So this side length is equal to itself, and that is called the reflexive property. And again, the reason why you want to mention GN is because it's being used in both the triangle on the left and it's being used on the triangle on the right. And of course you are equal to yourself. But more importantly, for this proof, that gives us the third side. Now we need 3 angles now. So let's go to angle C is equal to angle D. It's right there. It's given. It says angle CNG. This angle here is equal to DNG. This angle here. And if you notice, this is a right angle. That's 90 degrees. That's 90 degrees. All right angles are congruent. Of course, if something's 90 degrees and another angle is 90 degrees, they have to be congruent. By the way, step 4, this is an angle. This is an angle. We've got 3 of the sides. We got 2 of the angles. We need 1 more angle here to prove everything's equal. So it's going to be this angle near the top here. And so we're going to say angle CGN, this tick mark here, 1, 2, 3, is equal to angle DGN, DGN, tick, tick, tick. And the reason why, and this is going to be going back to the first page here, if 2 of the angles are equal, then the third angles must be equal. Well, these 2 angles are equal at the bottom, so this third angle near the top must be equal. If 2 angles of a triangle are congruent to 2 angles of another triangle, then the third angles are congruent. Okay, so now we've got every component congruent in the figure, and so now we're going to go to what we're trying to prove. The 2 triangles are congruent by definition of, this is new, we'll just say definition of congruent triangles, where all triangles are the same. Okay, and we'll finish this up with this last quick check here. You're going to be giving a 2-column proof. Obviously, they don't give you anything left or right here, so this will be a little bit harder. But ultimately, you're trying to prove why the 2 triangles are equal. So we know that the last step is simply going to be the 2 triangles are going to be equal. And then we're going to say because every part is equal. So hopefully, prior to that, every part will be equal. So let's look carefully at this here. We're going to say, let's go with the givens here. Angle A is equal to angle D. We're also going to say angle E is equal to angle C. So these are the parts that are going to be equal. That's given. They've already tick marked them out. Now, of course, this is an angle. You don't have to write this in red, but that gives you an idea. We've got 2 of the angles. We're going to need the third angle. They don't mention the third angle in the given. So we're going to mention that this angle here near the middle is equal to this one here. So we're going to have to put a triple tick mark. But let's state this, make this a statement. Angle A to B to E, the angle here in the middle, is going to be equal to D to B to C. And we need a reason why. And the reason is because they are vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent. You can also say since 2 angles are equal, then the third angles are equal. Either way, you'd be correct. Okay, so that gives us the third side. Now we can't say that the triangles are equal until we know all side lengths are equal. So let's go with the given here. It says side length AE is equal to DC. It also says side length EB is equal to CB. It also said side length BA is equal to BD. This is given, and really we didn't do anything. We just wrote down what the given was, but that's a side, and a side. So now we've got everything. We've got all three sides, we've got all three angles, and so now we're going to go to our proof, what we're trying to prove. Why is the triangle AEB on the left congruent to the triangle DCB on the right? It's because all the sides, all the angles are equal, or we can just say definition of congruent triangles, which is basically saying everything's equal. Everything is equal with the prior step, so now we can say that the two triangles are equal.